Yeah, man. It's been a while. Since the tea. Let me start. Boom. Yeah. It's your boy Mac. Head of tech. And you are now tuned into Sky Alpha HD, little better than your mainstream radio, and we're not playing you know where the .com catch a mainstream. You can find us on the app, Play Stores where they get it at. Otherwise, APKPO should serve for the same task. Come show with the cast, main nose in the glass. Radio to the stars with a certified intergalactic pass. Boy shows in the past, feature right here, why even ask? Book you a seat on the ship, we fully equipped, get ready to have you a blast. Big shout out to our sponsors, our media partners too. And never forgetting our listeners, we couldn't have us without a you. Innovated with the new, and debated in the news. Sky Alpha HD, get at us, do what it do.
They sing it so catchy, like no, go blah. Oh no, guys, go sama FIFA, go blah sama FIFA ya. Go.
So because I experienced a coup at a young age, and there've been sort of iterations of coups.
Yeah.
You can smell it from afar now.
Yeah.
So the things that are happening with us right now, the things that are happening in West Africa, you could tell the signs from a distance.
Yeah.
Wait, with us, are you smelling a coup?
No, not a coup per se, but enough
a
of
change
friction, enough of friction to say that there's something brewing.
Yeah, something's
things
afoot.
that are very weird about our current political dynamic that says, you know what? No, there's something else that is afoot besides just the politics. You have this increased army prevalence that you recognize.
What's up with that, yeah?
Right?
I know.
Has nobody answered that yet? No.
It's like that time where MK's cars and the PM's cars were always followed by
We're followed by the 5 cars.
And then like no one ever said why.
What's going on?
And then they
What's
stopped
happening?
at some point.
Yeah.
And then they just okay.
Yeah, that's like okay. Yeah.
And you're a fool for asking too.
Yeah.
It's like, we said somebody says it's protocol. I know what protocol.
I've seen protocol. Come on. I'm around. I'm alive. I'm alive. I know. Yeah. So just let's maybe just hone in on our situation before we go and talk about Survivor East Africa. We were told we were getting a revolution. Do you see the signs? Do you see revolutionary signs?
For prosperity.
Or prosperity, particularly. You see a revolution in West Africa. I mean, that's what's happening right now. At my age, and the kinds of things that you start appreciating because of experience, because of life. I don't say coup. I see revolution. I mean, we talk about Thomas Sankara, way back in Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things that happen. Revolution is immediate. Revolution is apparent. You can feel it, you can taste it, just like a coup.
Yeah.
This is a revolution is a different kind of a coup.
Yeah.
So if you don't see that happening, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So what we were promised is the usual pipe dreams.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So people are tired.
Yeah.
And we need something to actually give. This when you look at the dynamics, when you look at the characters, when you look at the personalities that are within the political landscape, you look at the players and say, look, how do we run into the people that we have are the best that we have?
Yeah.
With the crop that is up there on the hill, these are the people that we really need to see doing something.
Yeah.
And when you come in promising revolution and having the buy-in, particularly of the youth, and then for it to fizzle out into nothing is very frustrating. So that's why we see the Burkina Fasos, the Nigers, the Gabons happening and saying, you know what?
This far and no further.
Yeah.
I found myself embroiled in a tweet melee, for want of a better word, about youth and the youth being allowed to rise to the top, cream being allowed to rise to the top.
Yeah.
That was in relation to the new PSs that came out. I didn't know many of them. I knew a couple, and many of them are certainly 50 plus.
Yeah.
And they are either people from the civil service or names that we've seen before.
Yeah.
in a revolution, specifically as you say, that seems spearheaded by the youth. Actually, let me ask you, Paula.
The pressure. Okay.
Yeah. You're the youth. You're the youth.
Speak for a generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair.
What was your feeling when you saw that?
Honestly, it's just what keeps happening.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't shock me anymore.
Yeah.
It's like it's the next step. This is how it always is. It's hey.
Again.
The revolution.
You know?
Yeah.
But my question also would then be, I don't know if Basotho can get angry enough. Basotho does get angry, but behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You know, so I never really see us going to the point of a revolt in that sense. You know, where logically we're now seeing Mr. Fire on LTV. This is our strong man. This is who's running the country into the next transition, whatever it is. You know, I don't see us going that far.
You didn't
But
see
then
it.
I mean, you guys did a fantastic thing with Bacha Shutdown a couple of years ago. When it was
Okay.
like, I don't remember.
But you know how quickly that died down.
That is a thing.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how but
I like
You got to take
it.
ease. Like, you don't need
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
else. You need
it just
you.
ends, bro. It just ends. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
real.
That's the point. You know,
That's
something
real.
we were having this conversation about what revolution actually looks like, and in terms of like a coup. And somebody was saying, you see, in order for there to be a coup or a revolution, there has to be bloodshed. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
So who is going to?
But Soto don't want to be sacrificed.
But that's my point. I'm like the youth are really angry, but they have a line where they're like, okay, I'm not going to go
No
beyond
one's
this
going to be
line.
hectic.
There's a cap.
So I'm like, so you're angry, but you're not that.
We
angry.
did and that's a fact because we know how quick our security forces are to act
Those guys are quick,
negatively.
yeah.
They go above board. So instead of using water, I mean, here you have that situation now.
Yeah.
Where those students ending up
Nice.
dying.
Yeah.
Why do you have to escalate to that point?
Yeah.
So but we've seen it happen in '98. When something happens and you're looking at a paradigm shift in Lesotho, the security forces are up and in arms.
Yeah.
So to do something that is profound because Bacha Shutdown for me was such a profound moment in our history, and I said, wow, if these kids are going to succeed with what they're doing,
Yeah.
and
And then they didn't.
But actually, your generation, as the in-between, should have backed us.
and we did. I was there.
You guys should
I
have.
was
No,
watching.
like you guys, because you guys are already in sort of offices.
No, let me tell you what was
You
there.
guys should have backed us.
To what Khosie is saying, we were there. There were actually a lot of us there, and I was like, there might actually be more of us than
there are of us.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually said it. I was like, look, so now we work. A lot of us, to your point, a lot of us work. We've done our
Didn't need
bit.
to be there.
Yeah. So now we're here. I mean, Lemeko, they were shooting.
They were shooting, man. He has proof that
Made you look.
yeah.
Made you look.
Yeah.
You know. So you know, I'm also like. All the time, I want to say to young people. I was gonna say I want to say to the youth. I want to say to young because I'm like
so young.
and I still the youth.
Well,
You did a good job.
but also, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I'm always like, I need you guys to do more, but then I'm also like, but I can see that you're not interested.
Yeah. I'll say this actually. On the Bacha Shutdown chat, one thing that was actually a thing during and like days before Bacha Shutdown, the build-up was great. People seemed to have a great buy-in, especially from my age group.
Yeah.
Right? And then on the day of it, and excuse me for saying this, the people who were there doing the march weren't the people who needed the march.
This is exactly my point. This is exactly my point.
The people who were there for the march were just there because we can make country.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The people who actually need the jobs, who need the inclusion,
Oaks was sitting.
didn't show up.
Yeah, Oaks was sitting.
Twitter.
The first
Yeah.
time they said it's too cold. And I was like, if it's too cold for a revolution,
Bruh.
then we've got no chance.
Yeah.
We're Rashad.
Yeah, we've
They
got no
weren't
chance.
there. Like I saw people literally the next day or the week after, they're going back to like very cushy labs, we're
Yeah.
back at cafe,
Yeah.
we're doing the same things.
Exactly.
People who actually need the jobs, who we needed, who a voice for, didn't show up.
And why is that?
That's
I
what.
don't know about it.
No. Jolly, this one was about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it happens in your generation, but it probably does because where lo ho no yintse ka re ke ntho batho
It belongs to some people. Yeah. Yeah.
you don't have a class on we
Yeah.
no ke
Yeah.
That's our racism this side.
But here's the thing.
As a youth.
As a people.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about history. History actually shows you that revolutions are led by the middle classes. The people who prop it up are the proletariat. But how it generally works is that the middle classes get upset with the lack of service delivery, and then they get agitated, and then they agitate the proletariat,
Yeah.
and then the proletariat then carries because of volume.
sure
Right.
Here, the middle class is definitely worked up. The proletariat is not buying it, folks. They are not in the story. What to do?
Yeah.
What to
you know,
do?
Yeah.
that's the job. So it's like, sure, there's only so much we can do.
Yeah.
You know, we despite like the tear gas and having mates falling through, we as TLI during the Bacha shutdown.
Because that chick died and came back to life.
Exactly.
My so-so
I
died.
see my so-so all the time. I'm like, you're a struggle hero. You're a struggle hero, bro.
She's Hector Peterson.
And she's about to go to work. you know,
She's Hector
Exactly.
Peterson living and breathing.
she's
bro.
living and breathing, and for nothing at this point.
Yeah.
Because she still was able. Granted, she was still at school then, but since
Yes.
she finished school, thankfully she found a job.
Yeah.
And life went on.
Yeah.
And lately, the people who went through the Khasha to make sure they get to Parliament and hand in
Yeah.
the document, they would work now.
My nigga got shot. They shooting.
They exactly.
He was a trending topic.
Oh yeah.
He's still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people who actually needed the jobs and needed, the submission we put in to actually be put into place didn't show up.
Yeah.
They weren't there. None of them were arrested. All the people who were arrested literally are still okay now.
I want to then segue to Niger specifically and talk about that complex relationship between Niger and France. Right? And I call it complex, and it's actually really not. France needs Niger. Niger's like, please get off my toe for a little bit. And Niger's like, France is like, no, I need to step on this toe or else.
France is the best gaslighter in history.
Trust.
That
You know what I
gaslighting
mean?
is lit.
I'm like, wow, it's on a global scale for decades.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No, I just say it's the biggest gaslighter. That's where I'm gonna go
I think
in.
my opinion goes beyond France. It goes into Western countries. Goes even into China, and Russia, what they're trying to do, clamoring for African resources.
Yeah.
And my frustration is the fact that Africans don't seem to want to come together. We're constantly in talk shops wherever it is that we are. That's all that we do. We have this Africa Free Trade, Continental Free Trade Area. That is just stuff of the round tables that we occupy. So we continually perpetuate this elite that is very comfortable and finds no problem in serving the interests of the West or interests of developed countries. So Niger, like other countries, have these people, Batlasi, who are fed up.
Yeah.
And they're led by the soldiers who are also fed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The elite doesn't have it going for them.
Yeah.
Those cushy positions that
Yeah.
you look at Maputo Sese Seko from way
Yeah.
back in the day. These are things that continually repeat themselves. So you get to a point where they say enough is enough, and you have a military who backs
The imperial forces.
right?
Yeah.
So you end up having a situation that we're having, and then now the gaslighting, as you say, that's
Yeah.
coming in from
Western powers,
the West,
Yeah.
led by France right now, to try and constantly delegitimize what is happening, not say to Africa or the world. Look, what we do now as a country is very different. We're into technology. We produce aircraft. We need to relinquish what we were doing in Africa. We just need to just step back and be proper global citizens and just enable Africa and Africans and the francophonie that we used to lead, or we still lead in Africa, to just fulfill its own aspirations.
Yeah.
It's time for that to happen, and we would like to assist. We don't have people who are magnanimous to say, we have wronged you. you go back to slavery where you don't need to dig up all kinds of evidence.
It's
Have
just
you
there.
ever heard
Yeah.
anyone saying Kanete?
Hardly, my friend.
No.
Aye.
So with the interconnected world that we have right now, it's very disappointing that you still have these positions that are occupied by the West to continually stand their ground despite the litany of evidence that we have. We have a full dinosaur statue in France.
Yeah.
People don't know this.
Yeah.
And we have to build this museum so that we can get our stuff back.
Yeah.
And they say to us, no, museum and you'll get your
And you
stuff.
get it, yeah.
Why can't you just put it in a box nicely for me and just send it to me?
We'll decide what we do with
Yeah,
that. That's-
yeah. Yeah. So it bothers me beyond words in that broader sense of speaking, which is why unlike a lot of people, I support what is happening in West Africa, provided, of course, that it's for the interest and the benefit of every single person that stands to gain from the resources that these countries have. You should be wealthy.
Before we go to a musical break, we're gonna come back and pick it up with Survivor East Africa. You know what? Thomas Sankara and Patrice Lumumba have in common.
Mm-hmm.
You know the people who toppled them? Best mates.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Beyond.
Both of them. They're
Beyond.
best mates.
Beyond.
When somebody told Lumumba, "Hey, Joseph has turned on you," he was like, you can talk about anybody,
Yeah.
not that guy.
Yeah.
Joseph Mobutu Desire Seko. It's just gone 3:43 here on the Big Time on Sky Alpha HD. I said we're hanging out with Lemekwizi Wale Easy in the studio, and to that end, maybe we should feature him on a track. Let's see what he sounds like.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. Since the Shh, let me start. Boom. Yeah. It's your boy Mac. Head of tech. And you are now tuned into Sky Alpha HD, little better than your mainstream radio, and we're not letting you know where the .com catch a mainstream. You can find us on the app, Play Stores where they get it at. Otherwise, APKPO should serve for the same task. Come show with the cast, main nose in the glass. Radio to the stars with a certified intergalactical pass. Boy shows in the past, feature right here, why even ask? Book you a seat on the ship, we fully equipped, get ready to have you a blast. Big shout out to our sponsors, our media partners too. And never forgetting our listeners, we couldn't have us without a you. Innovated with the new, and debated in the news. Sky Alpha HD, get at us, do what it do.
And that Booga Love rap is crucial. Happy Summer Song. It's Tukula Kabale and Zwei, St. Stephen's Old Boys, Mount Stevens Old Boys. That's the house that they were in, the Red Boarding House. For those of you who are aware, Khosie is aware as a regular picker-upper of a St. Stephen's boy.
I was.
Are you happy about being a regular picker-upper of a St. Stephen's boy?
I just want to say.
Yeah, I knew it.
Don't take me back there.
Yeah, I knew that would be your view. It's just gone 3:52 here on the Big Time first Friday pop-up. On the first Friday of every month, myself and Party Pablo jump into this dude because it brings cash, and we talk a bit of smack, and we make sure that things are happening.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about
Khosie.
Survivor East Africa.
Yeah.
Do you have an East African Republic? Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's the tagline. Because you woke up in the morning and you're the president, but are you gonna sleep?
After lunch.
Yeah.
After lunch.
Are you gonna sleep as the president? Are you sure?
Kahle kunini. That's the channel ka no saktu. Ngana he.
So generally what will happen, we started off and we were talking about Niger. But then what will happen is that there'll be a domino effect because the first country will do it and we'll get away with
Yeah,
it.
those will be like.
Yeah, then the military acts are like.
Okay.
All right.
Speaking to that point, before we go to the next point, did you think it was coincidental that Paul Kagame then allowed a bunch of
took the words out of my mouth.
Kagame was like, no,
coincidence.
you guys can go home. Don't worry. Yeah. So, yeah, we had Niger, now we've got Gabon. As I say, I don't know how Paul Biya makes it past here. Thoughts on kind of that domino effect in the region?
I mean, Kagame felt it that okay, there's a wave.
Yeah.
There's a wave coming.
Yeah.
And then Zimbabwe is also something that we have to look out
Yeah.
for. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the contentious elections that they've just had right now, we don't know where it's going, and you're starting to have SADC do something that is uncharacteristic, where they're not united in congratulating their colleague.
I thought somebody would mention that on Twitter. But generally what happens is immediately after an election, we all get together and we're like, well done to the winner.
Yeah.
It has been a very staggered approach this time. There are some silences that are quite loud.
Yeah.
There are guys that are like,
Hey, Chief. At least,
you know?
as long as I hear you talk.
So yeah, you often feel the domino effect. The Arab Spring is the thing that we will always point to because of the real change that kind of happened as a result of one Tunisian who set himself alight because they couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
You then start to see it with Niger and as we were saying with that whole East African band. So now, ECOWAS was kind of the one regional bloc we all looked up to. We were like, these guys have it together. They've got a strong army. They seem to generally agree. Suddenly it's coming asunder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Being a SADC citizen and being a former SADC diplomat, we tended to look at ECOWAS and marvel at the level of cohesion.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is something that SADC doesn't have.
Yeah.
Even working as SADC diplomats, I was fortunate to be in Canada when Lesotho was chair SADC. So then we had to take up that role in Canada and steer the SADC agenda through. And getting our people to converge around an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening.
No.
Listen.
Despite the fact that even as SADC countries, we had a common challenge with Canada.
Yeah.
Canada is very distant to us, so it makes perfect sense to come together and tackle this issue.
Yeah.
Now, ECOWAS has so much going for it,
Yeah.
including Canadian participation. So we would always marvel, and then I took my fascination beyond my assignment to say, okay, even the international community is starting to look at ECOWAS. You look at what's happening in Ghana. You look at what's happening in Nigeria in terms of foreign direct investment. They are going through heaps and bounds. The level of development is starting to eclipse even our cherished nuggets like Botswana.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So for it to unravel like this, I mean, it really does say a lot about what has been bubbling under.
Yeah.
The Arab Spring, I think riled people up to say, hey, this can actually happen, and then you look at what is happening from an external perspective and realize that the people we have been seeing and interacting with from those countries are the privileged few.
Yeah.
Who work with these Western powers to maintain the status quo.
Yeah.
And Abedzebi, because again our infrastructure is so poor and our interconnectivity is virtually non-existent. Hagatamai in between SADC countries, what more? ECOWAS. I was fortunate because I worked in foreign service that I was able to visit these countries.
Yeah.
But then you get to see when you're on the ground that things are not as rosy.
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
So
sorry, just about that, just about the rosiness. An interesting stat that I saw recently. I hope that this will not find me in hot water. But Rwanda has a really high first-time tourist percentage of population. A lot of that it's not repeat business. So people go once, see it, and they're like, meh, and then don't go again. Isn't that an interesting thing?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
the thing about tourism is it actually relies on
the
repeat
repeat
business.
business, yeah.
And so, I mean, that's what South Africa has done really, really well. I mean, they're fortunate that they've got beach and mountain and safari, so they've got a couple of different things. So they get repeat
Yeah,
thing.
go back. Plus the World Cup.
Those oaks, it talks to a point that I make often about Rwanda. For people who hold it as like I think the Rwandan story is amazing. To go from where they were in '94 to now, really amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a lot like America. It's a lot of PR.
The PR.
It's
yeah,
a
the
lot
PR
of PR.
machine,
Yeah. So you get on the ground and you're like,
Right on that point,
Hmm.
would you say don't invest in the PR, invest in the investment, like the experience rather?
I'd say do both.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say you have to do both.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has. That's the thing.
Yeah,
So,
that's
so
what-
why
yeah.
does one pick either or?
Yeah.
Is it not possible to do both?
I think it's probably not possible to do either.
Yeah.
I think it's really difficult to do both.
Yeah. Okay.
And I say this having had the conversation that we had last time. I
Yes,
think America's probably the closest to having done it because they've got a really strong economy and they
Yeah.
also really invest in that PR. They make sure.
Yeah.
Canada doesn't invest in PR, but they have a great product
Yeah.
that you only discover when you get
Once
you're
there.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Lesotho
it possible they
doesn't-
don't want you there?
Hmm?
Is it possible they don't want you there? I mean, they're always advertising for like foreigners to come, but hear me out. Is it possible they're not really pushing?
Yeah, they're not
for,
like-
No, they
come.
don't.
Yeah.
Foreigners is one thing to go
Yeah.
to work, but
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of tourism, they
Yeah.
want you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and there are many things that they have going for them,
Okay.
like the social security.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
it's
yes.
very good if you are Canadian or you naturalize and become a Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fine. They're pretty inclusive and they do a decent enough job. I mean, they have problems,
Yeah.
but they do a decent enough job in terms of inclusivity, especially in
Yeah.
the big cities.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they don't invest much. But they piggyback on the U.S.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So these are lessons that
States like.
we some of us who have traveled will try to impart on our people to say,
Yeah.
hey, just piggyback on South Africa. South Africa is a great PR.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know how hard SA tourism have tried to say, guys, why are you spending this money that you don't have when we could do this for you?
Yes.
It happens all the time. SA tourism is really trying to make us part of the package.
You know,
Oh, shout.
the sad thing about it is that I've actually had that experience as as a person who sells the country.
Right.
We have these tourism expos that,
Yeah.
that you attend as a representative.
Mm.
I went the first year to observe, and
Can I ask where it was?
in Canada.
Oh, okay.
That's where I served
Fair,
my
fair,
country. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're like, okay, fine. I need to market my country. There's this international expo. I have to figure out how to get myself in there.
Yeah.
So the first year I went to observe, and found a huge South African stand. I mean, they took like four kiosks, which are like one of the biggest displays that you have in that entire expo. So
Yeah.
they dominated the Africa section.
Yeah.
So when I get there, like, oh, we just opened up our high commission, and we're trying to see how we market our country. No. Why do you need to do that? Just join us. Just bring yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so it happens at that person-to-person level.
Yes, yeah.
That, look, despite the fact that we don't have an MOU between our two
Yeah.
countries, we're not cool.
Yeah.
We'll do this for you.
Yeah.
So it becomes very, very difficult and to absorb as a person that our country completely refuses to absorb a lot of these things that come from international experience. So Canada does nothing. But they invest because they know that they piggyback off of the US.
yeah.
When I have Canada, oh my goodness.
Push up.
Wow.
Push up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
So wow that
Yeah.
they actually some of them want to stay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Lesotho we have so much going for us. People will not come to Lesotho from Europe. You have those one-time visits.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we do have some repeats that I have experienced myself.
Yeah.
But we need to be investing so that when people come to South Africa, you gain a value for
Yeah.
money,
Yeah. Yeah.
experience by hopping into Lesotho.
I wish people would listen to me. I keep saying our positioning, our sole position should be we're the party capital of the region. Because one, we are.
Definitely.
But two, there is so much value in that. If we
Yeah.
were just to say, look, let's let go of all the bullshit and let's actually do this. Let's be this.
Yeah.
We've got good beer. South Africa is about to change their drinking age to 21. So we're going to have that as a thing as well. And then we've got different kinds of holidays that we can offer people. How are we not looking at this and seeing that there's huge opportunity? Anyway, we have digressed.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, let's go back to Survivor East Africa. Are you leading your country? Are you sure? So let's say Cameroon does fall, and the coup happens there. What will then happen with ECOWAS? If we were just to do a bit of scenario planning, what will then happen with ECOWAS, which is this strong regional bloc, which has got strong support for the AU? I see the AU has actually spoken to the Gabonese and are freezing them out. What will then happen to that regional bloc that we all held in such high
I
regard?
think what will happen is what is happening in Russia, that you have sanctions happening and then people realize that, hey, we need those resources. And then they'll go creeping back to Russia,
Yeah.
to get those resources. We are not dynamic enough in our thinking as Africans to say what does the populace actually need? Are they being served well by our various incarnations of democracy? Look at what's happening in Rwanda. Rwanda isn't necessarily a cut and paste example of democracy. It has a little bit of benevolent dictatorship that happens there.
Yeah.
And does it work for them? In part,
Yeah.
it does, because it has allowed them to move from where they were to where they are now. But
Yeah.
they need to evolve.
Yeah.
Hence Kagame now shifting his gears because he sees that, hey, now
Yeah.
you need to evolve.
Yeah.
From where
Yeah.
we were, that what we were doing was necessary, but it's no longer
It's time
appropriate.
for the next phase.
For the next phase, yeah.
Yeah.
So West Africans are going through this. They've been in this quagmire since independence. We can argue if whether they're independent or not, considering the taxes that they pay to France.
To France, yeah.
So Africans in their dialogue, in our talk shops that we're very good at.
Yeah, how consistent. Every year. Yeah, we're gonna talk.
We are going to talk,
Yeah.
So we don't delve into the real issues. We don't look each other in the eye and say, "Hey, my guy."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But wow, and we need to move from here.
Thabo Mbeki had the APRM, Africa Peer Review Mechanism, and the idea was exactly that, because he kept saying African solutions for Africa,
Right.
Which I know used to irk my dad a lot, because he was like, "Wait, why are we suddenly this monolith?" And I'd be like, "No, I don't think it's about monolith. It's about just like not having the imperial force talk about its imperial power. Try and flex its imperial power." But it hasn't worked. APRM hasn't worked, and the first time it failed, coincidentally, was in Zimbabwe, when Tsvangirai definitely won the election. I'm going out on a limb. He won it.
Yeah.
The fact that he was prime minister, the fact that they created that prime minister, it tells you everything that you need to know about that. That guy's not gonna. At the time, RG wasn't going to just be like, "Oh, okay, I'll take him on," out of his benevolence. So yeah, it's funny. But just talking about benevolent dictators, with the army taking over, or with the armed forces taking over in the places where the coups are happening, what do you think is the best way to go about this? Should they be thinking about setting up a transitional council that will then again go to elections? Or do you say, look, we're going to try and regularize the situation for a bit. We're going to try and... Because France is going to push back, of course. And France's pushback is going to come with the other imperial powers. What do you think you do if you're a military junta that has toppled your government?
Was it in Burkina Faso? I'm not sure, where they appointed somebody who is something at a development bank or whatever it is that this person is, who's outside of the country right now. I think you need to identify your intellectuals as a military junta to say, okay, fine, we do need to transition. We can't have a military state or an administration. What we had in Lesotho was it was benevolent in itself. You know, it was oppressive, but things were achieved, like it or not.
Yeah.
And we needed that kind of transition. It's unfortunate that it was handed over to people who destroyed it. But in fact, I'm going to get flack for this.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those people who calls a speed.
Yeah, I know.
You know. So our West African countries need that kind of a transition. You preferably not that is a military transition. You need to identify your people and say, look, come together. Let's move from this point to whatever. Give it 3 years and let's go for elections. But with a very clear mandate as well that says this is where we are and this is where we're going. Have a social contract anew. And say this is what Burkina Faso is all about. This is what Niger is all about. And the issues that are most heated when it comes to what society wants changed fundamentally should be things that are non-negotiables. So if we're saying no more tribute to Paris, no more tribute to
none of that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to be very clear. And I think if you're setting up transitional administrations like that, the AU has no option but to actually listen and appreciate, and with the understanding that it is the society that has taken its destiny into its own hands. It's not a few military characters who are looking to gain something. It is about returning this country to its people, and so you have to transition. To enable that, you have to transition and give back to the people, which means ECOWAS would therefore have to listen and appreciate and understand and say, okay, fine, we would like to be involved in this transition. We have to face the reality that we are in. This is a new day. This is an African awakening that we're in, and we need to facilitate it instead of be antagonistic to it, and perpetuate the relationship, the dysfunctional relationship that we have with the West. So that is my opinion on that.
What do you think, Padi Paulo? What would you do?
Like the whole time you're saying this, I'm just wondering, should these countries, since they all sort of had a dominant effect, should they form a bloc of their own during this transition? You know, it just makes sense because they all sort of have similar issues, you know, economic and social and otherwise. Should they form a transitional
They
bloc
have
of
an
their own?
unofficial relationship, which I think I like.
Yeah.
Because ECOWAS says Kronabao, Niger. And then
Algeria says, Algeria says, no, you can't have our airspace.
Exactly.
They're like, what? What do you mean?
I'm just thinking, should they sort of like hold hands through, like you say, like 3 years maybe while they identify people and actually try to now have these non-negotiables? Should they have sort of a block that they have, an interim block that they have that could now become the new ECOWAS or whatever? Because these things need to change shape.
If it's a transitional body, then why not? So that you do have those checks and balances, you do have that whole peer review mechanism in a way that says, no, hey, Rite, we're giving this thing to the people. When I'm doing more, you're deviating from the plan. I wouldn't
kind of thing. But I think also it could feed into like a League of Nations UN kind of thing, where now these regional blocks sort of form into something new, because obviously they're all falling apart slow by slow.
Because the real thing that needs to happen, and it's giving me ulcers, is that the Continental Free Trade Area needs to be acted upon. We need to trade
as soon as possible.
Our trading is 11% as our continent. How are you going to develop anything if you can't even trade with your people?
Amongst yourself.
The fact that I still carry a passport to South Africa,
bravo, and you still struggle to get into Tanzania,
is a very big problem. Until and unless we fix that,
I want to go to first as a bit masopol. First as a bit with passport. I want to go to Margaret. Yeah.
Ooh, I wish they could all see on map Hotela from the US to Canada.
No, what's it like? Yeah.
Yes, US and Mexico is another issue.
Yeah.
which is where we are.
Yeah, exactly.
We shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Just gone 1613 on the Big Time on Sky Alpha HD. It's the Friday pop-up with me, Party Palo. Our guest is Khosie Malie. This is an awesome conversation. And here is an awesome song for you to enjoy. You'll notice there's a golden thread amongst the music. Enjoy. It's by Mono and Sons. It's called Orlando Hangover.
Yeah, man. It's been a while since the team. Let me start. Boom. Yeah. It's your boy Mac. Head of tech. And you are now tuned into Sky Alpha HD, little better than your mainstream radio, and we're not playing you know weather.com, catch a mainstream. You can find us on the app, Play Stores where to get it at. Otherwise, APKPO should serve for the same task. Come show with the cast, main nose in the class. Radio to the stars with a certified intergalactic pass. Boy shows in the past, feature right here, why even ask? Book you a seat on the ship, we fully equipped, get ready to have you a blast. Big shout out to our sponsors, our media partners too. And never forgetting our listeners, we could have heaven us without a you. Innovated with the new, and debated in the news. Sky Alpha HD, get at us, do what it do.
An artist.
Yeah.
What a freaking artist.
Amen.
Absolute boss. It's just gone 26 after 4 here on the Big Time on Sky Alpha HD. We're having such a good time that I've forgotten how the show is supposed to go. We need to release our guest. He's been here for an extended period. We have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation because, as I said off air, you have taken the IQ up at least 10 notches. And look, it starts off high. The IQ here starts off high. So to take it up 10 notches is a hell of a thing.
I'm very happy about that contribution to society. Thank you.
No,
So with the combination of XP, the experience is one other thing. Eh?
yeah, Spillion.
One other thing.
Yeah, Spillion is a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
You were telling Nkopane off air that this is your first time on the show.
Yes,
I'm
it
surprised. I thought that when we were still at the Vic, you
First time on radio.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness,
first time on radio. Yeah,
Not just this radio. Radio.
I was nervous and I still am.
really. and your debut is global. You know, you hit out
Boom.
World Wide Web. You know,
Shout out to you.
in excess of 100,000 people listening.
Okakabu applause.
Yeah.
I was
Here we go.
nervous before you said that, but now...
Now you're nervous. No,
catatonic.
but come on, you're a global citizen. You got this. You got this. Should be, aggressively familiar to you. Good. Oh yeah, no.
I'm trying to find the goddamn applause.
Come work at Gatel. Come work at Gatel.
We got the capella applause. There we go. Yay! And we'll get a air horn to go.
Yay.
Wonderful.
Yay, thank
For the
you.
kids at home.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's a really good conversation, and I think that we can build on this the next time. In fact,
Sure.
I already want us to really go in depth into the Continental Free Trade Agreement and what's stopping us from activating it, because I think that there is so much that can come out of that, and there is so little that's being done about it. It drives me crazy. I mean, I think 11% trading between continental partners is,
Disgusting.
what do we say?
It's dismal.
What do we say? And then we're sat there going, no, we're a major player as well, you know.
How?
How are you going to be a major player?
This
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean?
is a team I'm Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, it certainly builds up from what we've been discussing today, but you get to see the dysfunction of our many countries, including Lesotho, take advantage of the Africa Free Trade Area.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how we've decimated our textile industry,
Mm.
and we didn't need to be talking about AGOA.
Yeah.
Work out AGOA. I'm gonna go fail. That's the be all and end all.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have a market at our doorstep.
Yeah, right,
that
yeah.
we should be leading
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to discussing that.
When is the next iteration of In My Opinion come out?
I have one that came out earlier today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is the title?
It's
my favorite.
What is it called? I think it's called Grim Alternative. Yeah.
It's just like super salty, like. And it's also really well articulated. So you sat there and you're going, this time is going in.
Where can we all find this? All 100,000 listeners of us.
Yeah.
Where can we
You
find
can
it?
find it on Twitter. My handle is Khosie Malie. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And then
On
go
underscore,
to
Nixie.
no underscore, no nothing. You can hashtag In My Opinion. It should come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a couple of iterations already. Last one was today, talking about kind of intimating on the whole dynamics that are happening in Parliament right now.
Yeah.
These people coming in saying, "Oh, we have the numbers."
And they always have the
They always have the
numbers.
goddamn numbers.
There's no way the numbers. Like, Wu-Tang here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come down with your goddamn numbers, man. Yeah. And those come out two times a week, or how does it work?
I've been under the weather for the past I'd say a month or two.
Okay.
So it's been a little difficult just to stick to twice a week.
Okay.
And ideally it's Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
But I only managed one this week, which was today.
Okay.
So I will go back to my proper
To the thing.
Proper
next
scheduling.
week.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
what I'll do over the weekend is kind of like assemble them and just
Collate some.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
next week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, hashtag In My Opinion, you should be able to get them.
You get lots of responses to them as well, which is really good because it fans the debate. It sparks debate. It's a nice catalyst.
The necessary debate. I think
Yeah.
I got very frustrated when certain things were not gaining traction. You're about to shut down. I mean, I say this for me was like the end all. So I'll constantly refer to it.
Yeah.
There's no traction in anything. There aren't people converging to discuss national issues.
Yeah.
And I said, Huntley, what is going on? I need to kind of figure out what's the best vehicle to get people talking around a particular subject, a particular challenge that we have, because the opinions are the same. I find that mine resonate. Yes, people won't agree all the time, but that's when the
Sparks a
debate
conversation,
comes, and I enjoy the interaction.
Yeah.
So we need vehicles broader than my little post on my Twitter account to discuss our national issues, because you look at what's happening, like we've been discussing all day. We have this African Renaissance, this awakening that is happening.
What are we doing?
We're not cohesive, and our leaders refuse to allow us to converge. I think if we had this revolution that we were promised that in the run up to the elections, perhaps we could be somewhere. Perhaps we could be discussing these things. But I thought, okay, let me just do my own little bit. I grew up being on the sidelines of discussions because of the position that I'm seen to occupy in society, being wana mang mang, So I've not only steered away because of the perceptions, but because of how politics treated me.
Yeah.
You would think that I am privileged.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my upbringing was rough.
Yeah.
Because of the politique.
Yeah.
So I got to a point where, you know what, I'm in my middle ages. Now I think it's time that I say something. I think I have enough nuggets of wisdom to impart, particularly on the younger folk. I'm not old enough that when I'm not able to participate.
Yeah.
But what I want to give, what my contribution is the knowledge, is for Basotho to realize their own potential and come together and to change our fortunes. Our government and all of the three parties that form the coalition were elected by the youth. They managed to garner the the support of the
The
youth
youth
in whatever way. Now RFP just went through leaps and bounds, and their rallies were very hyped up with artists and to really resonate with the youth. So this says to me that the youth doesn't need RFP, the youth doesn't need NBC, nor do you need AD, but you need yourselves. And you've already done that with Bacha Shutdown. Like it's now hula hua it's ala jwang. So that is my little bit of.
We told you.
I know. But so this is why I'm approaching it from a different angle, from an intellectual angle, to say, okay, fine, harinahani, because we have the intellectual power as well. There is so much exposure that we have even through social media that we are so much the wiser beyond those who came before us. Yes, I get disappointed considering these new PS appointments. We should have had one or two people in the youth.
The youth, yes.
I know from experience, I was entrusted with huge responsibility at 28. Go to be a deputy chief of mission, embassy at Lesotho. I was scared out of my mind, but that compelled me to work beyond expectations. And that is what the youth have to offer. Because right now, our country needs the energy, needs the drive, and needs the intellect to come together and rescue us from the precipice of disaster. And people can do that at the youth.
He's sitting
there nodding his head when he should be going,
No. As a youth, I tell you.
The power.
Haven't already
retweets. Oh, that's such a dream. It's a funny thing that before we let you go, because it's a funny thing that happens specifically in this country where your surname determines what you can and can't say. It's happened a lot. Where I hang out during the day, there's a popular coffee spot in the country where there's a lot of meeting of the minds, and any opinion that you offer is immediately clouded by your surname. So I'm always trying to explain to people that my surname's got nothing to do with the things that I think. It really that my father supported a specific political party has absolutely nothing to do with me. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. He had his beliefs, I've had my own beliefs, and I think that many people perhaps haven't had the privilege of growing up in a home where you can have your own belief. You know what I mean? And it's such an interesting thing. Like people are always like, no, but, and I'm like, no, that's not that's not my view.
But I think sorry, okay, now go on.
From a personal perspective, people don't have the kinds of experiences that we've had. Now, my dad was a high-ranking Congress person. His father was a national individual. Now, I grew up in a house that was and then adopted by another family who had different political affiliations to my own. Now people found that dynamic to be very weird, that my dad's best friend and my other father national. What is going on?
What is this?
People were up in arms, like literally. They don't understand, because my other father, he was an ambassador for the longest time. I spent most of my time in the diplomatic residence in the So I entertain many people, South Africans, Basotho, I mean people of different, and sometimes there are people that are being entertained.
All the
and I'm part of this. And then we walk off, and then it's funny how many conversations I've heard about and we had to ask her now, so having those conversations in these coffee shops that we go to, it's very unfortunate that your opinion comes after or is disregarded simply because and this happens in the halls of government too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have projects that never took off simply because they came in with the wrong person.
Actually speaking.
Yeah.
Actually speaking. It's just
Yeah.
gone 21 minutes to 5. Here in the big time of Skyfish. Yeah, go.
Based on what you guys are saying,
Yeah.
and slightly what I was thinking, hear me out. Hear me out.
Should I
You
turn on
guys-
background music so that we can hear you?
No, not even that. Like,
Yeah.
essentially, you guys, for example, for Project Eating, it's about some people need to sit from the background and shape or figure out a message, and now figure out how to disseminate this message, right? So there are a lot of people who will look at who says what, how I live on top of that thing,
That's right. No, yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So make sure,
Right message, wrong messenger.
right? Make sure that the message is always right,
Yeah.
which is what they do in the entertainment scene.
Yes.
For brewery, for example, I'm not expected to get likes and push messages on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm not a Facebook.
Yeah.
Give me that message, let me push it on Twitter.
Let me see that T Street.
We want to get traction.
Got you.
You know?
Got you.
Give the same message to Scaptino Courts.
Yeah.
It's running on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we need, as a country, which is what Parliament should be,
Yeah.
someone who formulates, a policy and gets the message of what you know.
Yeah.
Right? And now let's make sure well,
Nah, my dude, you're spitting. Yeah, you're saying things. Well done.
that's the thing. Always the great ideas.
Yeah.
But then Basutu always
Yeah, like, who's saying it?
Hey, who's saying it?
Yeah. Is it acceptable?
Yeah. So if we just get the right messages in place, which is also building on DPS.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? If you put certain people ministrating who to get a represent, but obviously hang.
Yeah.
Mama get over PS. Obviously hang since wait on. Immediately the staff
Yeah,
doesn't
that's it.
work.
Yeah.
Staff are saving
Yeah.
the accounting will call true.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, my nigga spit. Nice one. Khosie, thank you for coming. I hope that you'll be a regular on the show. I certainly hope that this first time won't be your last time, and we'll see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was awesome. That was our guest, Khosie, my dear, talking all things Survivor East Africa. You woke up as president this morning. Will you go to sleep as president? In the background right now,
Sure.
we've got Soul for Real with Candy Rain.
Yeah, man. It's been a while since the tea. Shh, let me start. Boom. Yeah. It's your boy Mac. Head of tech. And you are now tuned into Sky Alpha HD, little better than your mainstream radio, and we're not playing you know weather.com, catch a mainstream. You can find us on the app, Play Stores where to get it at. Otherwise, APKPO should serve for the same task. Come show with the cast, main nose in the class. Radio to the stars with a certified intergalactic pass. Boy shows in the past, feature right here, why even ask? Book you a seat on the ship, we fully equipped, get ready to have you a blast. Big shout out to our sponsors, our media partners too. And never forgetting our listeners, we could have heaven us without a you. Innovated with the new, and debated in the news. Sky Alpha HD, get at us.